my man, can I help you?
Let me get an autograph.
Nah, I ain't signing no autographs, but you get off my car.
You don't remember me, huh?
Creed 3 is the third installment to the Creed trilogy, and what also seems to be the final chapter of Adonis' story. But as one door closes, another one opens, as this also happens to be Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. And I mean, what a first film to helm. Being that it's one of the industry's most historic franchises, unfortunately, it's not very good. Don't get me wrong, for a first-time director, this is a really solid effort. Picking up a few years after the events of Creed 2, he attempts to hone it back into what made these series of films iconic in the first place. Something that I felt was missing in that second film, and that is focusing on everything but boxing. And those years definitely help in doing that, progressing Creed's story beyond just a squared circle, and beyond the shadow of Rocky Balboa himself. So I'll give it props for that. Also, I feel like some of the fight scenes here are some of the best in the trilogy. When Michael was talking about anime being an inspiration for these scenes, I was kind of worried that the choreography would become too corny. But honestly, a lot of the time, they actually looked very good. Seeing the sweat spike off the boxer's body after a liver punch, or the waves on someone's face when they get hit by an uppercut in slow motion, was cool to see. It's very creative. And while all this stuff about the fight scenes and the mission statement to bring the spotlight back on Creed's life is great, this has a number of problems going against it. Like, while I really like Jonathan Majors here, and his chemistry with Michael B. Jordan is off the charts, I felt like his character development both got rushed and underdeveloped, which, to be honest, is something you could say about the entire film. Like, I loved Damien's intro and everything about him in the first act, but as the film went on, they really hit the gas in turning his character heel, which you could see in the trailers. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just did not work. It felt jarring by the end to see where both Adonis and Damien were, and it just didn't feel earned. The second half of the movie also felt very choppy, and it ruined the pacing a lot. Like, it felt very short considering the magnitude and scope of their dynamic. This definitely needed another 20 minutes to help build Adonis and Damien in context to the specific story. Like, you could see the editor cutting moments of development to save time. Also, I believe that this is the shortest entry of the trilogy, and funny enough, it runs 20 minutes shorter than the other two. And sometimes, in those 20 minutes, you strike gold. You get a Creed meets Rocky in the restaurant, or Creed's I'm Not a Mistake scene. And all those small key moments help in building both the characters and the story. It's why I loved Ryan Coogler's Creed 1, which was all about Creed and Rocky, and boxing was just an outlet or a vehicle for their story to be told. With Creed 2, it felt like a big studio movie, but a good one. And with Creed 3, I felt that vibe that I had with Creed 1. But it was just cut so horrid that I couldn't help but get distracted by the shifts in the story just to incorporate for time. I also hated that in 90% of the scenes, the score is in the background trying to convey to the audience what you should be feeling right now. And you could get away with it in small doses, but at a point, it just becomes way too noticeable. And this isn't really a problem for just this film alone. It happens in a lot of big studio movies, but man, I've gotten so tired of it. They need to let the actors act and have their space in the film, and not let the score artificially dictate the feeling in the theater. The training montage, which is something you see in all the Creed Rocky movies, is by far the weakest in the trilogy. It felt very mechanical when comparing this to the previous two, especially to the first one with Meek Mill and the ATVs and motorbikes in the background. This one felt fine at best. Also, I believe it's a Big Sean song playing in Damien's walkout. That was terrible. But the overall story, while I like that it shot high in terms of plot, it felt very thin when it came to the final cut. It had potential to match or even eclipse Creed 1, but it ended up being just a solid franchise film at the end of the day. A film to top off the trilogy and set sail for Michael B. Jordan's career in filmmaking. I'm feeling a solid 3 out of 5 on this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.